Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 32, Entanglement in Fruitive Activities. So we are in the section 3 of this chapter where Kapila Muni is criticizing Sakama Karma. So yesterday was a very beautiful shloka. Kathayam Kathaniya Urukramasya, that they do not have any attachment for Kathaniya Urukramasya. One correction here in the sense that when we say they do not have attachment, it is not about being judgmental about others. It is one should feel, one should not only feel, this is the application, these are application to the personal application that we should develop attachment to the devotional service, to especially the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they do not have attachment is whom are they? They are we only. Correct. So this is how we have to. So we come to text 19, powerful verse. नूनं दैवेन विहिता ये अच्युत कथा सुधाम् हित्वा शृण्वन्ति असद्गाथा पूरिषम् इव विद्भुजः. Translation.
Such persons are condemned by the supreme order of the Lord, because they are averse to the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are compared to stool-eating hogs. They give up hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord and indulge in hearing of the abominable activities of materialistic persons. Purport. Everyone is addicted to hearing of the activities of another person, whether a politician or a rich man, or an imaginary character whose activities are created in a novel. There are so many nonsensical literatures, stories, and books of speculative philosophy. Materialistic persons are very interested in reading such literature, but when they are presented with genuine book of knowledge like Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Purana, or other scriptures of the world, such as the Bible or Quran, they are not interested. These persons are condemned by the supreme order as much as a hog is condemned. The hog is interested in eating stool. If the hog is offered some nice preparation made of condensed milk or ghee, he won't like it. He would prefer obnoxious, bad smelling stool, which he finds very relishable. Materialistic persons are considered condemned because they are interested in hellish activities and not in transcendental activities. The message of the Lord's activities is nectar, and besides that message, any information in which we may be interested is actually hellish. Hare Krishna.
So such people, Kardama Muni says here, are condemned by the supreme order of the Lord. So how they are condemned? They are condemned in Bhagavad Gita. You know that in the 16th chapter, the Lord says that I send them to the lowest of the regions, that Tepi yanti adhamam gatim. This is how the Lord says there. And they are compared to the very lowly animals who are interested in obnoxious substances. And they will give up achyuta katha sudham. So what is happening? They are giving up the nectar and eating the drinking poison willingly. Right? Just like, when Kavi says this, Janiya Shuniya Vishakhainu. So this is how the activities of the conditioned soul becomes. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that everyone is addicted to hearing activities of another person. So all these awards, Wisden Award, Cricket Awards, then, you have the Filmfare Awards. This is the natural propensity to glorify, to hear about somebody, to glorify somebody, to make a hero of somebody. Right? It is a natural propensity. Why? Because for a living entity, Krishna is the ultimate hero. And because Krishna has given up that hero, the living entity has given up that hero, and therefore he is looking for another hero in the material world who is resembling at least some quality of that tejas which he has seen in the spiritual realm. And thus they will be fan of some rich man or some politician or some imaginary character, like some Mickey or Barbie or Archie or something like that. And there will be so many nonsensical literature, stories and books of speculative philosophy. Right? Recently, there was a series, that, of course, we are not against any book or anything, but that series that became a world famous series, and it was like, literally millions of copies of the books were sold, and that was actually based on the occult series. Right? And at least dozens children have committed suicide because of reading that books, because these are coming literally from the occult series, and there is a huge criticism, and certain countries have banned those books also. I'm talking about Harry Potter series. So the point is that what is the point? Point is there is always a tendency to glorify somebody, right? There is always a tendency to make a hero in somebody's life. We want some hero in the life. Why? Because we have, as a living entity, he has already seen a hero. Who is that hero? The supreme hero, right? And his activities are explained in the books like Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Puran, and these are the scriptures of the worlds, but people are not interested, right? Like, Kulashekara Maharaj says, Sudham Parityajya Visham Pibanti. Same words, okay. Sudham Parityajya Visham Pibanti. आश्चर्यमेतद्धि मनुष्यलोके सुधां परित्यज्य विषं पिबन्ति नामानि नारायण गोचराणि त्यक्त्वा अन्यवाचा कुहका पठन्ति. So they are highly interested in other subject matters, but when they open the books of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, they say, oh, this is all mythology. We will read when we become very old, invalid for anything. We will read all those things. What is the need now? So these kind of things they have. Why? Because in Prabhupada explains the analogy of Bhagavatam. It is like the stool-eating hog is always attracted to the obnoxious substance, and he will give up. If you give him some condensed milk, halwa or something like that, or rabdi, he will give it away, and he will be attracted to some other substances. This is the hellish mentality. Actually, sometimes a few years back, our devotees were preaching in Africa. And suddenly one group there started complaining that they're saying that because they were unable to tolerate one tribe in Africa specifically, they were unable to tolerate the smell which is coming from, ghee prepared halwa and, the other Mahaprasad smell. They said that is obnoxious smell. All they were eating is like cockroach achar and this and that, this is how they were eating. So this is the condition of such a sakama person. And then we also have to be very careful in our own lives that, how much we read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, how much we read, newspapers, how much we read other things, that we have to be very careful. Text 20. Dakshinena pathar aryamnah Pitṛlokam vrajantite prajamanu prajayante smashana antakriya kritah. Translation.
Translation. Such materialistic persons are allowed to go to the planet called Pitṛloka by the southern course of the sun. But they again come back to this planet and take birth in their own families beginning again the same fruitive activities from birth to the end of life. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse 21, it is stated that such persons are elevated to the higher planetary systems. As soon as their lifetimes of fruitive activity are finished, they return to this planet and thus they go up and come down. Those who are elevated to the higher planets again come back into the same family for which they had too much attachment. They are born and the fruitive activities continue again until the end of the life. There are different prescribed rituals from birth until the end of life, and they are very much attached to such activities. Hare Krishna.
So such people, they will be elevated to the planet of Pitṛloka, to the southern direction, Dakshinena Paripatha, and again they will take birth in their same family. And this is how the activities will continue life after life. Srila Prabhupada quotes 9.21. Tetvam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. Right. So kshine punye, again they will martyalokam vishanti. Evam trayi dharma anuprapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. When they have thus enjoyed the vast heavenly sense pleasures and the results of their pious activities exhausted, they return to the mortal world again. And Prabhupada writes here, they return to literally to their same families again. Right. And this is how, this is the path. Dakshina Patra is being explained here. Text 21. So what this means is, that means what we are doing right now, what we are undergoing right now, experience is not the first time we are undergoing these experiences. This we have to realize. Practically, history of the universe repeats itself, and history of a living entity also repeats itself, right? Just like Virat Kohli was getting out on that outgoing swing, repeatedly 20 times he was out like that. Okay, so similarly, history of the living entity also keeps on repeating. So whenever we undergo certain experience, it is not that we have to be enamored by that experience, realizing that, oh, this I have undergone many times previously. Correct? Text 21. Tataste kshana sukrota punah lokam imam sati vatanti vivashad devaihi sadyo vibranchitodayah. Translation.
When the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they fall down by higher arrangement and again come back to this planet. Just as any person raised to a high position sometimes all of a sudden falls. Purport. It is sometimes found that a person elevated to a very high position in government service falls down to all of a sudden and no one can check him. Similarly, after finishing their period of enjoyment, foolish persons who are very much interested in being elevated to the position of president in higher planets also fall down to this planet. The distinction between the elevated position of a devotee and that of an ordinary person attracted to fruitive activities is that when a person is elevated to the spiritual kingdom, he never falls down, whereas an ordinary person falls, even if he is elevated to the highest planetary system, Brahmaloka. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka, that even if one is elevated to a higher planet, he has to come down again. But Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Mam upetyetu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Anyone who attains my abode never comes back to this conditioned life of material existence.
Such a person, when kshine punye martyalokam vishanti, they again fall down by higher arrangement, karmana daivanetrena, and again come back to this planet. Just like any person who is raised to a high position sometimes fall all of a sudden. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, sometimes a person elevated to very high position in the government service falls down all of a sudden. And then no one can trace him or check him where he is. Like recently, very recently, how Srila Prabhupada's purports are so eternal and timeless. Very recently, our India's Uparashtrapati, Jagdish Dhangar, okay, he tried to backstab Modi ji, and he was in a plot with Congress to dethrone Modi ji. Okay. And then when this was realized, within minutes, he was asked to resign. And suddenly he resigned, that, saying that health reason, this and that. And, and then he is just, nobody knows where he is. He must have gone to some Canada, US, going to his married daughter or somebody like that. There was another person like that in China, Jack Ma. So he was like a celebrity, Jack Ma. One day he spoke something against Xi Jinping, the president of China. Next day he was just gayab. He was just sacked. So this is the tendency of material world. Why Bhagavatam giving this strong analogy and strong words? Because a living entity feels that currently I am not happy in my position. When I elevate myself in this life, like, financially, and technologically, position wise, if I become like a Jack Ma, who was like a $50 billion, the tycoon of China, or if I become politically like Uparashtrapati or Rashtrapati, this or that, or after this life, if I go to the heavenly planets and enjoy the heavenly pleasures, then my life will be happy. And thus there is always a tendency to be attached to the better, version or better life of ourselves. That's we are aspiring for. See, there is no harm, and one should be always progressively marching ahead in the life. At the same time, according to one's age appropriate, one should be retiring also at certain point of time. It is not that one is constantly tying only the material aspect. There are examples are given of Henry Ford or Tesla and other people. What is not told is Henry Ford led a maddened life for his last 8 years. Tesla died bankrupt. Okay. And so on and so forth. And then there is attachment that I will go to the heavenly planets and there I will enjoy. And then Prabhupada writes here, what is the use? From there also one has to come back. Right? Kshine punye marte lokam vishanti. So this entire world is prepared like that, and therefore Lord gives the invitation, Mamupetyatu punarjanmana vidyate. You come to me and yad gatva na nivartante. So why Bhagavatam is speaking these things is that try to find happiness in the spiritual activities and in the spiritual realm progressively. Then trying to make a home on the bridge. Material world is considered as a bridge for a living entity. Text 22. Now 22 to 26, we come to the fourth section of this chapter, where other goals which are achieved by bhakti, they are being explained. Text 22. Tasmat, and here in text 21, the child is addressing mother as Sati. Oh, my dear mother. Oh, Sati. Oh, great saintly personality. Oh, virtuous mother. Very beautiful words here. Text 22. Tasvatvam sarvabhavena bhajasva parameshtinam tadguna ashraya bhaktya bhajaniya padambhujam. Translation.
My dear mother, I therefore advise that you take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for his lotus feet are worth worshipping. Accept this with all devotion and love, for thus you can be situated in transcendental devotional service. Purport. The word Parameshtinam is sometimes used in connection with Brahma. Parameshti means the Supreme Person, as Brahma is the Supreme Person within this universe. Krishna is the Supreme Personality in the spiritual world. Lord Kapila Deva advises his mother that she should take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, because it is worthwhile. Taking shelter of demigods, even those in the highest position like Brahma and Shiva, is not advised herein. One should take shelter of the Supreme Godhead. Sarva Bhavena means in all loving ecstasy. Bhava is the preliminary stage of elevation before the attainment of pure love of Godhead. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhuda Bhava Samanvita. One who has attained the stage of Bhava can accept the lotus feet of Lord Krishna as worshipable. This is also advised here by Lord Kapila to his mother. Also significant in this verse is the phrase Tad Gunashrayaya Bhaktya. This means that discharging devotional service unto Krishna is transcendental. It is not material activity. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Those engaged in devotional service are accepted to be situated in the spiritual kingdom. Brahma Bhutaya Kalpate. They at once become situated in the transcendental kingdom. Devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is the only means for attaining the highest perfection of life for the human being. This is recommended herein by Lord Kapila to his mother. Bhakti is therefore nirguna, free from all tinges of material qualities. Although the discharge of devotional service appears to be like material activities, it is never saguna or contaminated by material qualities. Tad gunashrayaya means that Lord Krishna's transcendental qualities are so sublime that there is no need to divert one's attention to any other activities. His behavior with the devotees is so exalted that a devotee need not try to divert his attention to any other worship. It is said that the demoniac Putana came to kill Krishna by poisoning him, but Krishna was pleased to suck her breast. She was given the same position as his mother. Devotees pray, therefore, that the demon who wanted to kill Krishna gets such an exalted position. Why should they go to anyone other than Krishna for their worshipable attachment? There are two kinds of religious activities, one for material advancement and other for spiritual advancement. By taking shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna, one is endowed with both kinds of prosperity, material and spiritual. Why then should one go to any other demigod? Hare Krishna. Any demigod, sorry.
My dear mother, he says now, very beautiful. Tasma tvam, tasma, therefore, tvam, my dear mother, you, sarva bhavena, bhajasva parameshtina. Therefore, sarva bhavena means with all living ecstasies, what you do, perform devotional service unto parameshtina. Tad gunashrayaya bhaktya bhajaniya padambujam. Very beautiful words. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains who is Parameshti. Parameshti generally refer to Lord Brahma. Nanakaprishtham nacha parameshtyam. So there is Parameshti. Nanakaprishtham nacha parameshtyam. So generally Brahma is called as Parameshtina. But here Parameshtina means the supreme personality of Godhead. Brahma is the supreme personality of Godhead within this material world. But the ultimate supreme personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna. And therefore, the recommendation here is, therefore, my dear mother, take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says, taking shelter of demigods, even those the greatest of the demigods, who are the greatest of demigods, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, is not advised herein. Right? Why? Because even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, we have seen that, they themselves depend on the Supreme Lord for awarding liberation. These were a couple of verses before. And therefore, and what they themselves are doing, Brahmaji is a great, Vaishnava himself, the pure devotee, and he has himself started Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. Lord Shiva, what he is doing, Lord Shiva has himself started Rudra Sampradaya. And Rudra Sampradaya, the worshipable deity, Rudra Sampradaya is not Shaiva Sampradaya. Rudra Sampradaya is Vaishnava Sampradaya, right? So Rudra Sampradaya, the same teachings, what we are reading in Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, that is the same teaching of Rudra Sampradaya also. So all these great personalities, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Mother Durga, Surya, Chandra, all these great personalities, what they are doing, they are performing devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. And how that devotional service should be performed is Sarva Bhavena, in all living ecstasy. So the first paragraph is to whom is the Supreme Lord Parameshtinaha. And now next is how. How is Sarva Bhavena, Buddha Bhava Samandita. Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says this. What is what Lord says? Bhagavad Gita 15.19. Yo mameva sammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. With all one's heart and soul, one should perform sarva bhavena bharata, devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And such a Lord is Tadgunashraya Bhaktya. And this devotional service is called as transcendental Krishna consciousness. This is spiritual activity, Brahma Bhūyāya Kalpate. And this is, one is at once situated on the spiritual platform. In Bhagavad Gita, there is discussion about three modes of material nature. And naturally, Arjuna is asking, my dear Lord, how to transcend these three modes of material nature? So, what is the reply of the Supreme Lord? Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Such a Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. And instantly one will, at once, Prabhupada writes, one will transcend the three modes of material nature. So they at once become situated in the transcendental kingdom. So this is how to perform devotional service. Further, Srila Prabhupada explains, devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is the only means for attaining the highest perfection. This is to be performed to Tad Gunashraya, Lord Krishna's transcendental activities, and especially two activities of the Supreme Lord. One is Daya, compassion, and beauty. You know, the beauty of the Supreme Lord and compassion of the Supreme Lord. And here Srila Prabhupada cites the example of Putana, such a lady, a sadhvi, aho bakiyam stanakalakutam, right? The purest of all relations is the relation between child, baby, you know, the 1 week old baby and the mother. And this lady came as a mother, disguised herself, so much so even Vrajvasis were bewildered. And she wanted to breastfeed Krishna. And she applied Stanakalakuta poison on her breast. Right? I mean, one can be so degraded, like Putana. One can just imagine what kind of, okay, killing Krishna, demon you wanted to, but how? This is how we wanted to kill Krishna, taking the role of a mother and breastfeeding the child. And what was Krishna's reply? Tene gatim dhatrim uchitam tatonyam kimva dayalum sharanam braje. And he saw, oh, my mother has come, and oh, she has some blackish kalakut here and there. And he just purified Krishna. She was purified of the mentality. Krishna only saw the motherly affection elevated to the spiritual world. Mother. Who can be more merciful than such a Lord? So Srila Prabhupada writes, when one becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he will gain spiritually and materially as well. There are two kinds of religious activities, one for material advancement and another is for spiritual advancement, pravritti marga and nivritti marga. By taking shelter under Lord Krishna's lotus feet, one is endowed with both kind of prosperity, material and spiritual. Why then one should go to any other demigod? Right? And this is how there is beautiful description of, he's saying, therefore my mother, sarva bhavena bhajasva parameshtinaha, worship the Supreme Personality. And who is that Supreme Personality will be coming next. We'll just recite this shloka. Text 23. Vasudeve Bhagavati
Vasudeve Bhagavati
Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha
Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha
Niyatya Vairagyam
Janayatya
Vairagyam
Jnanam Yat Brahma Darshanam.
Jnanam Yad Brahma
Jnanayat
Darshanam.
Brahma Darshanam.
Very, very famous shloka and very close to that very famous shloka. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam Jnanam Yat Brahma Darshanam. So perform devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vasudeva. This is the direct instruction of Kapila Muni to his mother, Devahūti. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.